This week on the Media Virus Podcast, break out the pudding pops and start the party. America's dad is coming home from prison. Antivirus entrepreneur John McAfee found suicided in prison.
Deadman switch activated.
A tumble at the Tour de France topples 20, and Twitter tweets, "That twit's a twat." Now that's a tongue twister. It's the Media Virus Podcast. Let's point and laugh at the world burning around us. With executive producer Mike Latoris.
There's a fancy doctoring word for butt crack.
Featuring the diversity duo Stanley McFadden and the lovely and talented Doctor.
Shut the fuck up, Maddie.
And now, spreading the sage nihilism of an aged Gen Xer, your host and mine, the star of our show, the incomparable Maddie Rockdeath.
So anyway.
Hot damn. I'm coughing. All the time I had to get ready.
Yeah, God.
Hot damn.
Get off.
We have a fucking show for you people this week. I am I am not the Media Virus. I am Maddie Rockdeath. This is the Media Virus. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. You know, just kind of randomly on the street. Stop people. Ask them how their day is and then go, "Hey, you ever heard of the Media Virus Podcast? You want to ruin your day? Day going too good? Try listening to this shit." We actually had a little bit of we actually did edits to the top 3 teaser this week. I found out that Bill Cosby's conviction had been overturned, and I immediately started to write the top 3 teaser. I always grab a pencil and a sketch pad or a legal pad and start writing before I do anything. I just kind of scribble it out. And sometimes I'll just take what?
I said, well, I mean, that's an illiteracy thing. You draw pictures.
Yeah, no, right. It was a picture of a pudding pop, and then I drew a party hat. I just draw emojis out, which seems a lot harder than typing them, but it's not that bad. And then I went into the top 3 teaser document, and it was already brand new. We had some new jokes, so it's nice to and they were, of course, written by our executive producer, the Reverend and Professor Mike Latoris.
Good evening, everybody. I'm feeling edited. How about you?
Well, I just stomped all over everything that you found holy, apparently. So, but how's it going, Mike? How's your week been?
It's not too bad so far. Hot like a motherfucker, though.
Yeah, part of the reason I'm so frazzled is I was like, I can't deal. I'm sitting in Studio B right now. I could not handle the main studio. It's on the 3rd floor. My air conditioner just completely fucking died in the bedroom last night. And it's not one of those things where it doesn't work, where you can kind of diagnose it and maybe fix it. Everything turns on. It just doesn't work as good as you'd want it to. And I'm afraid it's going to catch fire or something like that.
And that's part of when we have these wonderful 97-degree days.
Yeah, your air conditioner and your fridge never break when it's 60 out.
No. And I usually start the air conditioner in Uncle Butch Studios here in the morning when it's hot like this, so that everything stays cool throughout the day, or cooler throughout the day, and then I really ramp it up when I get home from the office, so that when I come into the studio, it's livable. But this morning, I got to the top of the steps and I walked through the door into Uncle Butch Studios, and I heard this outside. And our transformer for the group of people who all share power. You're in the neighborhood. Blue.
Ooh.
And it's one of those. It's like it's not a knob on the air conditioner. It's a button you push.
Oh.
So I couldn't leave it to be on so it had to stay off all day.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hotter than Big Daddy out here. It's speaking of Stanley McFadden.
What's up, gentlemen? Completing this bundle of sticks.
Yeah.
I'm not lovely. I'm not talented. I'm not a doctor, but I'm here for you.
Well, we do appreciate that. We were wondering if he doesn't have a chance to, hit on the doctor, is he going to show up? And apparently he did. So I'm even in a very uncomfortable chair. Like
Well, you don't want a comfortable chair for this show. You got to be on your toes.
No, that's not how that works. You just watch me like slowly slump. Go, "Ah!" I thought about doing the show standing, but that would have gone. That would have, and I also thought about just taping the camera to the ceiling and laying down in a bed. I think I tried that one time. So
for $3.99 a minute.
You can call me Stud. What was that the back when phone sex lines were a thing? Back before every male was bombarded with pornography every moment of his life. You had to work to jerk off. You had to call and spend $4 a minute talking to some, dumb cunt who just, and they record those things too.
9-7.
Or try to splice your neighbor's cable, and you'd end up getting a blurry station, and then you'd end up getting a warbly. Oh, that looks like a nipple.
one green titty through the scrambled video.
Well, back in the day, remember when a cable box was a button and switch system?
Oh,
where you would flip the switch all the way up, and the buttons were 1 through 20. Yeah. And then halfway down was 20, 21 through 40, and then right. Well, there was you could stick a paper clip. If you open that thing up, if you knew where to stick the paper clip, you could stick a paper clip and get all the channels, all the pornos and stuff. And my sister was married to this guy, and he did that, and then he would just tape movies all the time.
Yeah,
and he'd bring them over. He'd be like, here's Ghostbusters, and here's it was this shit. But this was before. This wasn't DVD. We're not talking Blu-ray, man. We're talking.
So I remember the first VCR that we got. My dad brought it home. It was actually J.C. Penney's brand.
Wow.
Right? Wow. So the cool thing about it was one of the first VCRs. So it was top load.
Yep.
So the tape popped up out of the top, and you stuck it in and had to stick it down. But you could tune exactly 13 channels on it. But being smart, they said, well, you might not want channels 2 through 13 and then 2 others. You might want whatever channels. So there was a little door that you opened up, and it had all these little knobs and sliders and shit.
Yes.
I remember those.
And you could dial down each channel. You could dial into the channel you wanted. What they didn't realize was you could find the channel for HBO and dial it in and unscramble the scramble.
Oh shit, look at you.
So for a while, we didn't have to re-up on the test chip that went inside the box. We had some channels that we dialed in.
Damn.
Yeah, that was badass.
I had a VCR like that with the top load, and it had the door that flipped down, all the little fucking knobs and shit. And I had 8mm Sony camcorder
Yeah.
that didn't it didn't tape anymore. Like it didn't record anymore. It would show, a signal.
Right. The record head was bad.
And this was before the time of LCD screens. So they didn't have the viewfinder. You had to look in the camera.
Right.
And I had this 5-inch portable television. I think we might have discussed it on a previous show. This little 5-inch TV inside of the Emerson boombox. It had a tape. Right. It had a cassette player.
Yep.
Right. So what I could do also was record audio off the television.
Okay.
So I set up this thing and we called it the Ghetto Cam 2000. This was back in 1995. I built this thing and I went and got a postal crate and I mounted the camera to the top of the crate. Okay. And then the top layer inside the crate was the VCR. Right. And that I would tape that would record video.
Right.
And then you could see the whole thing on the screen. It was black and white, but you could see what was going on where the video was focused. And then we could record audio.
Okay.
It was shitty. It wasn't anywhere near good.
Right.
But it worked. And that's where we would when we went and set up in the band with shows, I would go and I would fucking slam this thing down at the end of the end of the club. Just set it the fuck up and hit record and then or have somebody. Nobody ever knew how the fucking thing worked except me. I always had to explain it.
Right.
Nah, dude, everything's running. You just got to hit this button. Oh, what button? This record. It says record. How hard is it?
So that reminds me, our next door neighbor when I was growing up, her father was sort of a technophile for his time. And he had one of the very first camcorders that was available, but the camera had no means of recording. It just picked up the video signal and passed it on. So to make this work, he had a VCR, one of those old big top load VCRs, but it was a Betamax that was in a tote bag, with a shoulder strap.
Wow.
And then another shoulder strap for the other side with a big old tote bag that carried a battery pack to power the whole thing.
Holy shit.
So he would put on 900 pounds of gear to take 2 minutes of video.
Wow.
Thank God that's not how it is now. You can just...
I can remember him running around birthday parties for kids. And he had these 2 big packs on and and are you having a happy birthday?
As he has a heart attack.
And the kid's like,
hey, kid, oh!
What are you wearing? Get away from me.
Do you have any Stan? You got any stories about stealing electronics?
Plenty of stories of stealing electronics, but that would be just me shoplifting a lot. I had a big jacket, because I grew up in Philly, so it was a huge oversized jacket, and
triple
for
fat
its inside. Close enough. It was one of those. And the inside pocket, because, inside pocket. So I ripped a hole in the bottom of the inside pocket. So anything I would steal would just, flip right in there. And because of the way the lining was designed, regardless of what I threw in,
a huge pocket.
The whole jacket was a huge pocket.
Yeah.
So I would steal fucking everything I could get my hands on. and it would just fit. And I would just kind of like work it around to the other side, all the way around the lining, so I had plenty of room to steal shit. And my older brother remembers me telling him one day, and I quote, "I will never need money again." Because my plan was just to steal everything. It ended up being a lot of food and candy, ironically, that I would end up giving out in school.
So my first job was in a sandwich shop in Wilmington, in a neighborhood that was not the greatest neighborhood. It wasn't a bad neighborhood, but there was some shady characters around. Some real characters. Like the first day that I got there, I pull up on a 10-speed bike that was actually borrowed from the guy I was working for. And this guy runs up in front of me and says, "Hey, man, you must be the new guy that's going to start today. My name's Ricky." "Oh, hi, Ricky." He said, "Man, that's a nice bicycle. You better lock that up or I'll steal it."
Damn.
I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went and locked the bike up and moved on. Well, it became kind of known that Ricky was one of the characters in the neighborhood, and he would pretty much steal anything that wasn't bolted down. And he comes walking in one day, and it's a day like today, 4,000% humidity, about 98 degrees. And he's wearing that big triple fat goose coat. And I'm looking at him like, "Motherfucker, you are crazy." And he says, "Hey, come here. You want to buy a steak?" And he opens the one side, and it's like the guy in the movie that whips open his jacket and the jewelry's all hanging.
Mm-hmm.
He had the fucking meat section from Pathmark hanging inside the jacket. He had steaks. He had pork.
Dude,
chops,
if you're
he had
stealing
ground
shit
beef.
in the summertime with a triple fat goose jacket on, frozen meat's got to be the best goddamn idea you can.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
Not frozen, but it was definitely meat. He just, you want to buy a steak? Not out of your coat today. I don't.
I'm saying it was frozen when he stole it.
Maybe.
It was
Nice
hot
way
out
to
there.
keep cool, steal some shit along the way. Pathmark and Clover were my two my go-tos.
You'll go back to Clover over and
Over
over.
and over. Why do I know that still?
Because everybody knows that song.
Oh, man. Well, right after this break, we're going to go into the top 3 news stories. So we touched on them a little bit. That's the Cosby conviction being undone, the McAfee dead man switch, and the Tour de France alliteration. So right after these messages, and the first message being that you can give us a call here in the Media Virus studios, the various studios that you see here before you at 1-646-VIRUS-01. That's 1-646-VIRUS-01 to reach the Media Virus podcast. And we'll be right back.
Send help.
This episode of the Media Virus podcast is brought to you by deodorant. It's hot and you stink. Get some fucking deodorant.
And now back to our regularly scheduled podcast here on the Media Virus Podcast Network. And we're back on the Media Virus Podcast Network on the Media Virus Podcast. Maddie, we want to talk about your boy.
I mean, it's so relieving to finally like get a win. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of world do we live in where Cosby's in prison? It doesn't. I think that where we are now, it was overturned. He's innocent. That's the way I see it.
Bill Cosby's sex assault conviction was overturned by Pennsylvania's highest court. The court said Wednesday that it found an agreement with previous prosecutor that prevented him from being charged in the case. The disgraced actor has served more than 2 years of a 3 to 10 year sentence at state prison near Philadelphia. He had vowed to serve all 10 years rather than acknowledge any remorse over the 2004 encounter with accuser Andrea Constand. Cosby, 83, who was once beloved as America's dad, was convicted of drugging and molesting Temple University employee at his suburban estate.
I don't know about you guys, but that sounds just like America's dad. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
I have fond memories of my dad drugging and banging chicks in a hotel.
well,
Your real last name is Cosby, so
yeah,
You know, I used to I dated a woman who lived, let me get this right. I dated a girl who lived behind Cosby's daughter. So Bill Cosby, one of Bill Cosby's kids lived in a residential area outside of Philly, and his backyard touched the backyard of the girl that I was dating. So every once in a while, I would see a guy that kind of looked like Bill Cosby from a distance.
wow, that's incredibly interesting.
Yeah, that's absolutely nothing.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm drawing a pudding pop.
What are you doing?
Drawing a pudding pop next to Bill.
He's drawing
Okay, so let me understand this correctly. So he is now considered innocent of the charges.
Well, in the American justice system, you are innocent until proven guilty.
Yes. Well, unless you're. Oh, I was going to say unless you're black, but apparently, okay.
We like black people. See?
In this case, it would seem that they vacated the conviction because, due to a technicality, the Supreme Court says he was not allowed to be charged in that case because there was a deal with a prosecutor previously with regard to this case. They're saying that that deal should have been upheld as it was written, that the deposition that he gave at that time, his agreement to give it was that he wouldn't be able to be charged later. And then they went back and charged him based on information given in that deposition and tried to use that deposition against him. So they're saying, no, you can't do it that way.
It sounds like this should have been done before. Like, I feel like this should have been like, why did this come out 2 years after? You know what I'm saying? Like 2 years into a prison sentence.
Well, this is really bad because originally the charges were brought, or they wanted to bring charges, and he gave this deposition, and for whatever reason, they agreed that, okay, if you give your deposition and we figure this all out, we can't charge you. So he said, okay, and he told him a bunch of stuff.
And they did it anyway.
And then it went away for a while, and the Me Too movement started to kick up, and this girl said, hey, wait a minute, this thing happened. And they said, okay, well, let's charge him. And everybody sort of turned their head and said, well, you know, they shouldn't have been allowed to make that deal. That was a bad deal, so we'll charge him anyway.
Not only did they do that,
and they started a trial, and his first trial was declared a mistrial because some things were hinky. They tried him again, finally got this conviction. And the bottom line here is the Supreme Court looks back and says, you shouldn't have been able to charge him to begin with because you made this agreement. You're supposed to stick to your agreement.
But also there were more women there were women that testified in the second trial that were excluded from testifying in the first trial.
Because they had never brought charges. And
right. But so but they also brought 5 more witnesses that had no reason to. They not only, you're right. I dig what you're saying, but it's like it's so more egregious than that.
Right. And well, the reason that the other issue is these additional people who testified at the second trial, the Supreme Court stepped up and said, hey, wait a minute, that's not only bad, but it's really bad because when you when you bring in somebody to testify to past behavior, that's usually good enough. But when you bring in 4, 5, 6 more people to testify about past behavior that there was no legal action pursued upon, so you don't really even have a solid legal record of it, what you end up with is it's basically character assassination. It's a bunch of people saying that guy's a shitty guy. And if you don't have a basis for that, you can't use it. And the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania basically said you shouldn't have been able to use all that testimony. It was really just you just made him look like a shithead, and that's why he got convicted.
So to answer everyone's question, is he innocent? The answer is fucking yes, because
the answer is he's not convicted.
Right, but he's not convicted, so he has not been proven guilty. He has not been found guilty. You are innocent until proven guilty. He is innocent.
He has been found guilty, but his convictions have been vacated on technicalities.
Right, because they couldn't do it right, so they had to fuck with him. Because when you go for the king, you better not fucking miss. And not for nothing, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Nobody says no to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby could never get convicted of rape, because why? Who would say no to Bill Cosby? It's ridiculous. It's unthinkable. If Bill Cosby wants to fuck, it's either him, he's fucking or we fucking.
We ain't fucking. I'm sorry. I'm nice guy, maybe, but Bill Cosby just doesn't do it.
He ain't coming for you, man.
I hope not.
You're not a hot little college student.
You make
at
a good
Temple
point.
with the braids and the tight ass. What's Billy supposed to do, man? Dude's got tail. Dude, I guarantee you, dude's got tail all over the place. Not only that, but you get to like say, hey, listen, I fucking banged Bill Cosby. It's not like oh, I banged Wilt Chamberlain. Every bitch banged Wilt Chamberlain back in the day. Think we should move on, or you want me to keep going?
No, I was getting ready to go on to your next Bill Cosby.
Oh yeah, Bill found this. Staff writer Bill's contribution to today's episode.
So, back in the day when Bill was working on the Fat Albert show,
hey,
he did.
I'm gonna sing a song for you.
He did little cutaways where he would talk to the children and explain things to them. So here's Bill talking to children about why people go to the prison.
All of those people who are in prison right now were kids once, just like you. They went to school and they had girlfriends, boyfriends. They played baseball, rode their bikes, just like you.
Just like you.
And then somewhere along the way, they did something wrong, something dumb. Maybe it was getting mixed up with a bad crowd, or maybe it was shoplifting or stealing a car.
Maybe they stabbed some motherfucker in the throat.
Small became bigger. Maybe they even got away with it at first and thought they'd never get caught. They were wrong. Now,
maybe they raped 40 women.
Prison isn't any fun and it isn't any joke, so play it straight, gang. That way you'll get where you want to go, not where you don't. Right? Right.
Don't slip bitches roofies and then fuck them.
Well, that was something good that he, I bet he wishes he knew that then.
Yeah, they just like you, they go to school, they brush their teeth, but then one day they stop brushing their teeth, and then all of a sudden their mouth get ugly and nobody wants to give them any money. Then you got to rob a liquor store, smack a hoe, and then you fucking you just start shooting motherfuckers, and you wind up in prison.
According to these depositions, this was occurring at that time, right?
No, this is well after the Fat Albert show.
Yeah, but he was playing that move back then. I think the move does go well back into the 80s. Yeah.
What move?
Here, let me fix you a drink. These aren't Quaaludes, they're antihistamines.
Oh,
And then, they wake up and feel like they've had a Jell-O pudding pop pressed into them.
fucking, I can't believe how ungrateful people are anymore. You can't even get fucking Quaaludes anymore.
I know,
He
right?
was giving them away for free.
Do you know how hard it is to get your hands on methaqualone now?
Quality experiences. The man
honestly,
was giving quality.
Dude, he's probably giving out Watsons too. He's probably giving out Watsons. If you're the Wolf of Wall Street, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie.
I'm not.
I heard of it, never seen it.
But it's a scene where DiCaprio and I think it's Jonah Hill are playing Jordan Balfour and this one guy, and they found an old Quaalude that was a Watson.
Huh.
And apparently the bit on the sketch of this part is that Quaaludes improve with time. Like the older a Quaalude is, the more effective it becomes.
Well, there's a bit of truth to that from my understanding.
And Watson's, being a former opioid connoisseur, I know that if you get a Watson Percocet, you are in for a good fucking ride. That's a quality Percocet. That's not one of those fucking generics that's going to make you sick. You know what I mean? That's going to be a ride. You're going to have a.
They knew how to build a molecule.
They knew
it would attach to the right receptor.
Oh, dude, Watsons were the fucking. So the point is that Watson has always had a reputation for quality pharmaceuticals. We should get Watson as a sponsor. This podcast is brought to you by Watson Pharmaceuticals. Watson Pharmaceuticals. Look for our name. You can trust the ride.
So speaking of rides, John McAfee's been on a crazy ride for a while, and it ended rather suddenly when he was found suicided in his cell in Spain.
Yeah, I mean, this thing just reeks of conspiracy.
He had a post. It was either Twitter or Facebook, and he said, if I'm ever found suicided, it was a setup, and I have files in my condo at such address. And I do believe that the address that he listed in that tweet is the condo that collapsed in Florida.
I don't know about all that, but what I do know is that moments after he was found dead, his Instagram account tweeted a giant black Q, and all the QAnon dorks are saying, there's a hidden message in the Q, man. The message, it's in the Q, and we've got to find it and decode it and get the message out of the Q.
I don't often ask you to start Googling on the fly or look for something that we haven't already prepared. But I want to dig into this. I want to dig into this condo collapse because I had no interest in it. It's really a shame. I think the death count's up to like 20. I know it was 18 or something last time. I don't know. They found a bunch of kids. This is a terrible thing. But you bringing up this, I didn't know that there was what you referred to as a dead man switch with the Q, and then hearing this other, I'm like, okay, all right, well, wait a minute, is there like maybe we can? All right, so
well,
wait, let's go to PolitiFact. Fuck USA Today. Let's go to PolitiFact.
Oh, we're not going to contribute. Says John McAfee tweeted before his death that stored computer files in the Florida condo building that later collapsed. Let's see what we have. Image suggesting John McAfee stored files at collapsed Florida condo tower is fake.
Okay.
Interesting. All of a sudden.
Conspiracy theories quickly swirled around the death of technology entrepreneur John McAfee in Barcelona prison, where he was awaiting extradition to the U.S. on tax evasion charges. Spain's El País newspaper reported that McAfee, who developed the first commercial antivirus software for computers in the 1980s, had committed suicide, citing police sources. His lawyer told Reuters that the 75-year-old British American took his own life out of despair. But rumors linked to the baseless QAnon conspiracy theory, whose followers believe Democrats and celebrities are involved in an underground child trafficking ring, suggested that it was not suicide, but part of a cover-up.
All right, so I read a list. I read a list of charges, mostly blue collar, like tax evasion. He's accused of murdering his neighbor, or they want to talk to him. And
yeah, he's a person
I don't
in connection with the murder of his neighbor.
But I don't want to smear the man's name. Like I didn't see anything about child pornography or sex trafficking in the charges.
No. They're not suggesting that. They're claiming John McAfee is one of theirs. So
John McAfee knows the truth, and that's why he's not dead.
Right. That's what he's saying. He's saying that not only did he know the truth, but
that's what they're saying. Dude, they're saying that about David Carradine. They're saying that about Chester Bennington. Yeah. They're saying that about Chris Cornell, that they were all working on a documentary about child sex trafficking. Mm-hmm. And then they wound up in these really odd
suicidal
autoerotic suicide. Yeah, autoerotic, right. Or
right.
Like it just doesn't I think Chester Bennington was suicided. I don't think Chester Bennington of Lincoln Park, I think you had the world by the fucking balls. There's no reason to kill yourself over that. And just how they all kind of died under the same circumstances. It was mostly autoerotic asphyxiation. And it seems to that is what seems to be, if you want to smear somebody's, I think Chester was found outside. I don't remember where Chester Bennington was found. But if you really want to smear someone's reputation, that's how you fucking. People can handle people being gay. People can handle people being trans. People can handle all kinds of shit. I actually had a fucking teacher in high school who, I'm not going to say the guy's last name, but this happened to him. He died and he was found doing autoerotic asphyxiation. And the reason that freshmen knew it going in is because we went to school, his nephew was starting.
Okay, so you knew family members.
So it was just, I didn't, but he was, people from, because I went to Holy Cross. So, and it was a lot of little feeder Catholic schools with tight knit, my 8th grade class was 30 kids.
Right.
So, and not everybody made it to Holy Cross. You know what I mean? I don't know why. My dad must have paid extra. I had to go to summer school every single year.
Was Holy Cross really the good school, or is that just where you ended up?
No, it was the good school. And that's the problem. Here's the thing. 3 years at Holy Cross, I had to take at least 3 summer schools each year. My parents moved to the Poconos. They put me in my senior year. And I had failed, and I didn't go to summer school my junior year. The high schools looked at my scores, the high school up there.
Right.
And what they decided to do was put me in my senior year classes. And then I could retake junior year after my senior year.
Okay.
So if I went from, World History 1 to World History 2.
Right.
I went from algebra 1 to algebra 2. And the thing of it was because by letter grade I was failing.
But by aptitude, you were in a
But
better
by number grade, I was passing for public school.
right.
I was getting a D, but it was public school.
Right.
Right. Not only that, I remember going through my senior year. To give you an example, to pass biology, I had to get my grade on my final exam had to be at least an 8.
Damn.
Don't you get like 12 points for putting your name on the paper?
I don't know. That'd be great. I went in my final exam. I walked in. I answered 8 questions and left. But here's the thing. I wasn't so lazy that I answered 1 through 8.
You picked
I picked my favorite ones. I was like, oh, I know this one.
You wanted to answer.
Yeah. Because I knew all
very
this.
complicated. That's a very complicated fuck you, you know?
It was. Nobody got it. My teacher got it. She did. She's like, you're such an asshole. She literally looked at me and said that. She was a big fat one. And she was really cute. And I used to flirt with her all the time. And she just looked at me. She's like, you're a fucking ass. She didn't say fucking. She's like, you're an asshole. She did call me an asshole. But I walked, yeah, dude, my fucking, so my point was, had I gone to public school,
Right.
I would have had to work harder to fail.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I apparently, my ex-wife was, she graduated with honors from Pemberton High School. And I would make references to just history or, biology, or just use words that she had no comprehension of.
So a shitty Catholic school education is better than the best you can get at public school, is what you're telling me.
That's kind of what I've learned out of life as far as getting the education, actually learning material. Not only that, but I mean, obviously I have terrible ADD, and some teachers just knew how to engage with a kid.
Yep.
And some teachers just don't.
No, I agree with that 100%.
But also I think part of it too is in the Poconos, I didn't have much else to do.
Well, yeah.
Except my schoolwork. I didn't that school was what was I didn't know anybody.
You're far flung. People are close together.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And you make your friends are anybody who lived up there was a hillbilly.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean just through and through, or making meth.
Literally, they are the hills.
Yeah, no, it's the hills. That's right. But I come from a long line of hillbillies. My dad was from Minnesota. He was born in 1931. He tells story of taking Little House on the Prairie, going to school. Everybody went to one schoolroom, and they dipped their pens in the ink.
Oh, jeez.
And you got summers off because you went to fucking work.
Yep.
Right. So that's how what was I talking about?
We were actually.
I'm a bunch. I come from a long line of hillbillies. Sanizak would not be my family name. It's not my biological. The guy's name was Eustace. And Thomas Eustace, my real grandfather, Thomas Eustace, used to buy whiskey from a dude. He used to make it because this was during Prohibition. He used to buy whiskey from a dude named Raymond Sanizak. And Raymond was a married man with a couple of kids. There was, some kind of entanglement, and you wind up with you little blue-eyed kid and French Canadian.
Sure.
French Canadian household. You know what I mean?
Well, to swing back over to John McAfee, I'm not sure how we wild left turn, but swinging back over to John McAfee, I mean, the guy openly admits that he has not paid taxes for years, and he even himself has considers that he is in fact fleeing the IRS. So, I mean, we're not casting aspersions. We're not putting anything down on this guy that he hasn't said himself. But in a June 2019 tweet, McAfee claimed to have 31 plus terabytes of incriminating data about government corruption and threatened to release it if he was ever arrested.
So he was arrested in Spain in October of 2020 at the request of U.S. authorities.
He was.
That's why. So they can show that this tweet was real, like that tweet about having incriminating data. But for some reason, him tweeting about the location of that data is false. But his tweet
let's see if we can find support anywhere.
So the Instagram post.
I don't want to go to the dark web, but
the Instagram post leaves the impression that the data McAfee claimed to have in 2019 may have been destroyed in the Florida building collapse. It included images of a pair of tweets. One of them claimed McAfee owned a condo in the building and cited the second tweet. That tweet, purportedly written June 8th from McAfee's account, said, "If anything ever happens to me, please know that the 31 terabytes of files I have are located on hard drives in my condo near 88th Street and Collins Avenue, just north of Miami Beach." But the June 8th tweet appears to be fabricated. There's no June 8th tweet about those records on the timeline for McAfee's verified Twitter account @official McAfee. And there's no evidence he owned a condo in the building or had any other connection to it. McAfee sent out 2 tweets on June 8th, but neither made reference to computer files or a condo, according to an account analysis. We found no such tweet with a Twitter advanced search or on all my tweets search. So we rate the post as false.
So they're saying, so the post about the existence of the files is real, but him posting about where it is not.
Correct.
And I find those two facts somehow incongruent.
Well, no, he's said since 2019 that, hey, I have them. But after these buildings fell down, somebody's trying to cite a tweet that nobody can back up. Nobody can actually.
Let's see if we can find a story that says this is true.
Well,
I'm
sure
let's
we
check
can.
Breitbart. Right.
John McAfee didn't own a condo. John McAfee did not own a condo. There's a lot of no.
Oh,
probably that first one. Go back up to that first one. Thinks Miami condo collapse was deep. That the Newsweek.
Yeah, but then they go in. It goes into the QAnon supporter. They call him a QAnon supporter.
Well, I don't think you're going to find anything that supports his claim that isn't.
Deanna Lorraine thinks Miami condo collapse is a deep state operation. Whoever she is. Does anyone know?
No.
Okay.
She's that girl that said the condo was collapsed. That was a deep state operation.
A QAnon conspiracy theorist who previously ran for Congress has made baseless claims that the condo tower, which recently collapsed in Miami, Florida, was actually purposely demolished to target associates of recently deceased antivirus software entrepreneur John McAfee. Deanna Lorraine, who unsuccessfully tried to unseat House Speaker Nancy Pelosi from her California District 12 seat in 2020, made a number of falsehoods and wild conspiracies while appearing on right-wing Stu Peters' show on June 25.
So who was where now? Who's Stu Peters? We need to start a fight with him. He sounds like a nobody.
Okay, write that down, somebody. Stu Peters, start fight.
Stu Peters, I'll write it right under fucking New England coffee.
Among some of the claims that the collapse of the 12-story Champlain Towers South on June 24th, which has left at least 12 people dead and 149 still unaccounted for, was done on purpose, linking it to the conspiracy that New York's World Trade Center was blown up rather than collapsing following targeted terrorist attack. Well, I tend to believe that the World Trade Center was systematically taken down. But Lorraine also said, without evidence, that McAfee may have been targeted by the satanic deep state because of information he claimed to have had on file which would expose corruption in governments. Let's just go over the facts. I mean, buildings do not just fall like that, which I've talked to some people and apparently sometimes they do, but okay. They just don't fall in one fell swoop either. The only time I've ever seen that was 9/11, and we all know that building didn't just spontaneously fall either. This was a demolition.
Interesting.
I don't know that the Florida thing was a demolition. I do know some people who have some prowess in engineering and some and know some things about the atmosphere and weather in Florida as it relates to concrete. Apparently, with these larger buildings in Florida, one of the problems that they face is these buildings were constructed with standard rebar. And standard rebar is bare metal.
It rusts.
It will rust. Salt tends to promote rust. And when these buildings get some stress cracks in them, it allows the salt to go in closer because typically the concrete itself will actually filter some of that salt back before the moisture gets to the rebar.
But the moisture goes right through the rebar. Water will go right through fucking concrete, right fucking through it.
Right, but the concrete does tend to filter some of the salt out. When you get cracks in the concrete, more of the salt gets down to the rebar. You get faster rust because again, salt promotes rust. And what happens is when you get a rust layer around the rebar, the concrete just slips right off of it. So you get these cracks where the salt gets in and makes the rust more, and the concrete can just slip right off of the rebar. And when you get concrete slipping away from the rebar, the rebar is not holding things in place anymore. And when that happens in the lower portion of the building, and it happens in enough spaces at once, you do get what appears to be a controlled demolition, because that's exactly how controlled demolition works. You systematically place explosives in the lower areas and fire them off to bring things down from the bottom, working your way up. And, it's all about strategic placement and strategic failure. You create the strategic failure to bring down a controlled explosion. So by chance, it's possible that we had lower level failures that just compounded and everything came down on top of them because you had the lower level failure at the place and at the time that you did. So it's not entirely outside of the realm of possibility that this building just fell down because nobody paid attention to it and fixed the cracks.
Interesting.
The same does not hold true for the World Trade Center, however, because that has a lot less salt water around it, and the failure points in the buildings in New York would have conceivably been protected by the outer skin of the building, whereas this building actually had bare concrete facing outside.
Isn't Manhattan basically an island?
It is, but you don't have the same salt forces working on a building that's encased in metal and glass that as you do on a building that actually has concrete that's readily open to the air.
Right. That was a steel building as opposed to a concrete building with rebar.
Well, no, there's a lot of concrete involved either way. But when you get into controlled demolition, it's World Trade Center looks a lot more like controlled demolition in a lot of ways.
All right. Well, guys, on the other side, in this episode of This Old Conspiracy Theory, we're going to take a look at building methods and whether 9/11 was an inside job. After this.
Well, I really don't think that there's any question there.
What, on how to build a bridge or a high rise?
I don't know how to take them down, really.
I mean, do you really think 9/11, like when you saw 9/11 happen on TV, did you say that's the government?
No, but knowing some of the things that I've come to know now, I don't feel comfortable that it was just a bunch of guys flying planes around. There's some things that don't add up for me.
What about the death of Rumsfeld? Are you think that was? Do you think that was like suspicious? Do you think?
I don't have any personal feelings about the death of Rumsfeld.
I mean, he's 88 years old. Do you think he killed himself?
I don't have any personal feelings about the death of Rumsfeld.
No.
No. But this Tour de France thing, 2 massive pileups as spectators cause initial crashes. Wow.
Yeah, this fucking bitch, this twit, dude, holding a sign out and like her arm hits one of the. Is there video?
That's the headline. So no, it probably doesn't go. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there is.
Oh hell yeah!
You can see that placard on the left-hand side of the road. Tony Martin just hits it.
Oh.
He comes off. His team come down behind him. It's just
What in the fuck?
The side of the road is just trying to get on television by doing that stupid thing. But
there's a lot of stupid things in
you
here.
can see that placard on the left-hand side of the road.
No, it's really just this dumb bitch. Pause. Go back.
No, there's more than because. Work with me here. I'm not saying she was right. Not by any means. Because, first off, that's her face. She's facing this way with her back to oncoming traffic.
Right.
That's just dumb. She's also out in their right of way.
Like if you look, her foot's still on the road. And she got knocked back.
But this guy right here. This guy who continues to plow right into her.
Where's he going to go?
Unfortunately, and
she's going like 20 miles an hour on a bike.
He was not. They just stepped off. They weren't flying. He was not going.
Big Daddy.
I've gone 20 miles an hour on a bike. That was
white people shit.
White people shit.
Definitely white shit. It's white people shit all day. I'm just saying that there's more wrong than numbnuts here with her sign.
I definitely believe that Twat Waffle over here has a big bulk of the blame. There was a video of a sprinter. It's a black sprinter, and there's like a short-haired white blonde girl who's just like la 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 walking in front of the lane, and he like mows over this bitch at full speed. And I to me, those two things are the same, right? So thinking about this cyclist guy, he's probably just looking straight ahead, trying not to die.
And I apologize. Yes, they are humming along pretty good. They didn't. I
was going to argue that the video had just started, which makes it look.
No,
but they're going at a pretty good clip. And here I've heard reports. This is the first time I've seen the video, but I've heard reports that what that sign says is, "I'm here, Grandma."
That's even better.
Damn.
That she knew the fucking camera. She's looking for, look at ground, when I get on TV for my grandmom, and causes the worst crash in like Tour de France.
So like if I was cycling, right? Like I would be tunnel visioned, and I'm just like, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die, and I'm just going for it. So in part, I don't think the guy
we
was
have an
looking at
aerial
the
view.
sides.
We have an aerial view. I heard this is amazing. Hang on. I'm sorry, Big Daddy. I got excited. There we go.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I got to full screen that one.
It's like bowling.
I love how it goes from like everything's happy to holy
Like,
shit.
Wow.
I feel
in like
bad.
3 seconds.
Not for nothing. Crashing off of a road bike is no fucking joke. I've done it. Not fun. Don't want to do it again. But crashing on a road bike is absolutely no joke, especially what these guys are riding.
It's funny how when the Tour de France logo comes up,
It circles what's going on.
it's circle, like it micro circles the worst place to be.
Yeah.
Like if somebody were going to die, play it would be right here.
Don't be here. Don't be here. Don't be here. This is why you should.
Is that buffering signal just built into the video?
I think it must be because it keeps coming up.
It's
Same
at
spot.
the exact same spot. Because I'm wondering if you're trying to circle where it.
No, that's buffering, and wherever the video comes from was has the circle and the Tour de France logo in it.
That's just,
And
it spans like you can't get around it. The only thing, people in the back looks like they were able to stop when they figured out what a time to be like just conserving your energy. Just way back there.
You're right. They're probably doing about 18 to 20 miles an hour, and as they approach that
hurts.
Just tunnel vision. It reminds me of the runner. There was one at track and field. He was in lane, tunnel vision, and he mows this bitch over who just happened to walk in front of the lane. And he said it was just tunnel vision. You're just trained to just straight ahead, and you're looking through objects in front of you and just going for it.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, but you got to go around them.
This one appears to be in Dutch.
Oh, this was another one.
Proberen een gaatje te vullen. En daar gaat het is voor de tweede keer dat de hele boel opgeschrikt wordt. En dat is een dalende lijn. Dan is de cafouillage nog groter. En dit gaat nog grotere gevolgen hebben. Dit gaat nog grotere gevolgen hebben. Links zijn ze eraan ontsnapt. En daar aan de rechterkant, daar gaan ze los over alles. Er zijn een paar mannen van de Emiraten bij betrokken. Er is er eentje.
Since none of us speak Dutch, I'm going to mute that.
This is why I don't fucking ride in the Tour de France. Right here.
Well,
I'll tell you that right now. It's the only thing stopping me.
I've come off of a road bike unceremoniously into a ditch, like tumbling and shit, and it's not cool. Every once in a while, I still pick a piece of grit out of my elbow. But I mean, you can see, especially in the aerial view, once they cut back to the aerial view in this, you can see the way that the bike tangles around you because they're all wheel. There's more wheel on those bikes than just about anything. There's more wheel than frame.
Yeah.
And
there ain't a whole lot between you and the road either.
No, there's not.
How do you even know which bike is yours?
You don't at that point unless it's still between your legs.
And honestly, dude, it like in a situation like that, it's not the fall that hurts you. It's getting hit by another bike.
Yeah, or another guy. But trust me, the fall's not nice. I went down all by myself. I didn't have 50 guys.
Oh, were you all by yourself? Oh.
Except for the lady in the caravan who ran me into the ditch. Yeah.
She give you a blowjob at least?
No, but I hopped up out of the ditch and chased her down the rest of that hill and up the next one to the light and beat on her passenger window and bled all over the side of her car while her kids screamed in terror.
So you terrorized her children.
I did.
Genius.
But I mean, that's why you don't
run bikes off the road.
Run a 15-year-old kid on a bike into a ditch while your kids and you sit and laugh about, we got so close to him and he got scared and fell in the ditch. Yeah, bitch. Because I'm coming up out of the ditch, okay? And I rode that bike as hard as I could to the top of the next hill and just pounded on it until she ran the red light.
Did you? I guess you didn't know her name.
No.
I'd like to add her to the enemies list. Right now, our enemies list is very short. It's New England Coffee and Stu Peters.
Well, I think Stu Peters is a good one. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure why we're mad at him, but you know,
he's a fucking asshole.
As a follow-up next week, we should see if we can find a statement from the grandmother
of Stu Peters. Oh,
the grandmother.
Tour de France grandma.
Yeah.
We'll have to stay on the story.
Yeah, I just want to know what she thinks.
Because she's like, oh look, it's Darlene.
She's such an idiot,
dumb twat.
So it turns out that when you're the valedictorian in New Jersey, they don't like it if you mention you're gay.
Wow.
Valedictorian has microphone cut during LGBT speech, asked to remove pride flag from gown. And I looked at a little bit of this story while I was doing my prep, and apparently the principal walked up, cut the mic, and took the valedictorian speech and tore it, and then handed him a canned speech that he was then expected to deliver. A New Jersey high school valedictorian says his microphone was cut during his graduation speech for mentioning LGBTQ themes and was asked by school officials to remove a pride flag from his gown. Bryce Dersham, graduated from Eastern Regional High School in Voorhees, New Jersey on June 17, claims his speech was interrupted by a technical difficulty because it did not adhere to the school district's guidelines. Taking on stage during the ceremony, Dersham said,
"I should have been talking, I think."
I think so. Talking on stage. Yeah, that works better. Talking on stage during the ceremony, Dersham said, "After I came out as queer freshman year, I felt so alone. I didn't know who to turn to."
You passed it.
The principal then passed what? Oh, yeah. In a video of the speech, the school's principal can be seen approaching the podium and bending down to grab something behind the stage before Dersham's microphone is cut off. The principal then walks up to the valedictorian, takes the microphone and a piece of paper off of the podium before he looks for someone to swap in a working microphone. Dr. Tull came up to the stage. He grabbed the paper I brought and crumpled it in front of me, Dersham told WCAU. He pointed to the speech he had written for me effectively and told me I was to say that and nothing else.
Wow.
After he was given a new microphone, Dersham picked up where he left off, reciting the speech about his mental health struggles and anorexia treatment from memory.
Nice. Good for you.
Robert Cloutier, Eastern Camden County Regional School District Superintendent, told Newsweek that all student speeches are coordinated through the high school principal. Cloutier said, "The principal works with the student in connecting their educational experiences to a meaningful and inclusive message about the future for all students in the class and the students' invited guests. He said that all speeches are agreed upon and approved in advance and kept on stage for the principal to conduct the ceremony. Which I don't like the sound of that at all.
No.
But Dersham said he was forced to take out all mentions of his queerness and eating disorder treatment during the speech editing process. I did feel censored, Dersham said. I felt as though they were trying to regulate the message I was going to say and take away the parts of my identity that I'm really proud of. He said that he decided to go off book at graduation and realized that he would not be allowed to deliver the speech he wanted to. He also claimed that he was asked to take off the pride flag he had draped over his gown, but he said he refused to do so. Cloutier wrote in an email to Newsweek that no student was asked to remove his or her personal identity from any speech at graduation. He added that the district is committed to the diversity and inclusion initiatives led by the state's Department of Education. The Eastern Board of Education voted in April 2021 to restore the Gay Straight Alliance Network as an activity for students in the 21-22 school year, after decreased participation resulted in the activity being ended in 2009.
Hey, no, we're going to bring back the gay thing we were doing before.
Yeah, we were going to bring back the gay thing.
The kids didn't give a shit for such a long time. Now the kids give a shit again. We'll reenact. The kids can talk about being queers and all that, but just not this year. Not that
that was three generations of graduates between the time that they closed the one and opened the other.
Right.
So Voorhees, New Jersey is not what you would consider like. There's parts of South Jersey that are kind of like Alabama. Voorhees isn't like that. Voorhees is more the upper middle class. Not quite you. I don't know if you call them wealthy. They're not tech entrepreneurs, but a lot of old money in Voorhees. A lot of Karens, I think, is what I'm.
A lot of Karens, huh?
A lot of Karens.
We're looking at Voorhees Township over here. Elevation's 112 feet over sea level. Average of 3-star hotels. Population of 29,000.
Images for Voorhees.
I mean, it sounds like everything Maddie's telling us it is.
Yeah, it was Jason from Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
franchise was last name Voorhees after, the original Friday the 13th and the remake was set in New Jersey.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why I say, a lot of people think of New Jersey as New York, and there are parts of Jersey where it is very, very different. Like family trees that don't fork, deep in the woods. The Pine Barren. The Jersey Devil legend is legend because it's all kind of like a shared experience. Like, yeah, this bitch had 13 kids. The last one was just deformed as fuck and used to kill chickens in the backyard. Like there's parts of Jersey where that's just, oh yeah, maybe my kid's the Jersey though,
Wow.
What we're talking about?
Hey.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, I don't agree with either side of this equation. It sounds like the principal and the school board in the school district, they're being a pack of assholes.
But
You know what? If this were my kid, I'd be real pissed off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I'd beat him for fucking saying that dumb shit in front of everybody.
Maybe you'd be pissed off for a different reason than I would. Because, I
was waiting to see how long that took.
I really feel like this kid should be able to tell his story.
No, you're absolutely.
If you earn the spot of valedictorian, you get to say what you have to say. Now I can see that they
even
want
salutatorian.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where they want to see your speech and approve where you're going, but I don't think they can really censor content like this. I mean, especially when it's about who you are.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to talk about his porn addiction, I can see where maybe, leave something out. Okay. Maybe we can talk.
I mean, if his speech was like, I went from sucking dicks onto the bleachers to, giving tutoring, the lower, I don't know, tutoring the younger kids and then sucking their dicks. Then that's.
When I was a freshman, I was afraid to suck dick. And now, as a senior.
Now I'll suck a dick right here. And he just starts sucking a dick. I think.
That's the line, right?
But he came out specifically as queer.
Yes. He didn't say he was gay. He didn't say he was. What he said, he came out as queer.
Maybe the issue was with the word queer.
Well, queer's a perfectly acceptable word. Unless
it is, especially if you're talking about a $3 bill. But
in the, I mean, that's where the Q comes from in that community, in the LGBTQ, that whole long acronym as it.
No, I get it. But what if that was the issue? Like, what if the principal was like, listen, you can talk about, just be gay.
But what if he's not gay? What if he's queer?
Are they not the same thing?
Apparently not. And they get a separate letter. It, like being straight, that's kind of like, we're straight. But, if there was something that was like straight, but not quite, and different enough that you didn't want to be called that, would you be okay with being called that just because it was more acceptable?
That's how I go through life.
I forgot.
My understanding
if you ask me what my sexuality is, I am straight.
Right. But if there was something straight adjacent that was different enough that it has its own term, but it doesn't define you, would you be okay with being called that term? Just for the sake of saying straight adjacent. You're a straight guy.
Like, what if I'm a straight guy. I like fucking chicks.
And you're proud of being straight, but I'm going to refer to you.
But let's say I really like to watch other dudes fuck chicks.
That's a porn addiction. That's different.
So my understanding is that part of the
But do I have to declare like that's what I'm okay? So I do I have to go around? I was like, oh, what's that? What are you straight, gay? I'm like, oh, but it's the porn. I have a porn.
My understanding is that part of the title of queer is like the other stuff. So like gender fluidity, right? Because I met through connections, actually. I met some kids who, not kids, but teenagers who he felt that he was a girl one day and a guy the next. So, one day he would go and get a new purse, and then the next day, go and do some push-ups. But so that gender fluidity, I believe, is one of the things that falls under queer, because it was neither It's not gay. It's not straight. It's not lesbian. Like it's none of the above.
It's
So
sort of
it's
different.
queer. Yeah.
So I mean,
and I also point out that in the Newsweek headline that we are looking at right now, valedictorian has microphone cut during LGBT speech. Asked to remove pride flag from gown.
Newsweek.
They couldn't.
Newsweek follows a style guide. Every publication has a style guide, and
they eliminated the Q. The kid is specifically queer.
Every publication has a style guide, and you have to write within the style guide. So if they've made the determination that LGBT is the acronym, and that's as far as you go with it, especially in a headline, then your editor is going to change it out whether you write it or not. As you go down further in some of the other content,
this person specifically came out. What was this person's name?
That's interesting.
Right?
That's interesting.
As you go farther down, it's tagged queer, and the Q shows up in the actual paragraph. So it may be that Newsweek's style guide says you don't put the Q in a headline. You only use the Q in the story. It's for brevity. Or for whatever the reasoning is. But every publication has
Alphabet Mafia.
And
the alphabet people are not interested in brevity. The alphabet people want to be included.
Of course, I understand that, but I'm explaining why the headline
taking queers out of the headline. I understand. Listen. Well, just because you can explain why the patriarchy works doesn't make it right. We need to Newsweek. We're going to pick a fight with Newsweek.
I can't wait till next week when the doc comes back and helps edit this list again. Write that down on the list, Matt. We need to discuss the list with the doc. See if she wants to add or subtract.
I don't see. I mean, right now we're just spitballing. I mean, we can carve it down, but we got to start picking fights. And if we don't start picking fights, we're not going to get anywhere. So we need the anti-sponsor. That's New England Coffee. We need to go after some right-wing idiot. This guy's nobody, so we'll take him on. Newsweek's not even going to pay attention to us. We could literally bombard them every Facebook post they put out or whatever, or get into their comment section. They'd still ignore us.
Okay.
But gotta pick up some fights, man. We gotta at least. I think Newsweek's good, and I think that's a good reason. We need to destroy the patriarchy. I'm gonna take a note. Destroy the patriarchy.
Well, you may not realize it, but New Jersey's a place where there's a lot of fights anyway.
Oh, I grew up in New Jersey, my friend.
So you know.
I am aware of fucking New Jersey, dude.
There's always a fight in Jersey about something. Well, this guy planted a Moorish flag in this lady's house and claims claims a sovereign status, and it gives him ownership of the property because he decided it was his.
Yeah, dude, doesn't know how this shit works?
Not exactly. A Los Angeles man has been hit with several charges, including criminal mischief, burglary, and criminal trespass, after he and several others broke into and claimed legal residency of a black woman's vacant property in Newark, New Jersey. The incident allegedly took place on Thursday, June 17th, when a woman whose name on the social media platform is listed as Shanetta, with the handle @regular black girl, attempted to enter the home she purchased in February 2021, but couldn't because 4 men were claiming to have legal residency of her vacant property and had changed the lock. Newark Public Safety Director Brian O'Hara said in a statement to NBC News. And then I had to scroll down some.
Let's play a game with the first paragraph, shall we?
So they basically Christopher Columbus her shit.
Yes.
But here's the thing. How long do you think it would have taken us to figure out this was a black woman if they hadn't put and claimed legal residency of a black woman's vacant property in Newark, New Jersey. I think the word black in this sentence is unnecessary because once in vacant property in Newark, New Jersey. The incident allegedly took place when a woman and her name is Shanetta.
I'm sure that the property owners of Newark, New Jersey come in a variety of colors.
Do you?
My assumption is that the insinuation is that there was some racially motivated
right. At least they're trying to purport that there was racial motivation here, because they are playing really hard into the fact that she was a black woman and she's apparently on Twitter. She's just a regular black girl.
I mean, so here's the and that's the thing is they are this a black woman's vacant property, but I mean within a couple of sentences we're going to figure out she's black. She's in Newark. Her name is Shanetta, and then her Twitter handle is regular black girl. So let's continue down this.
The woman later called authorities and when arrived on the scene requested proof of identification from the four suspects. They claimed to be sovereign citizens from the Al Moroccan Empire and that their status permitted them access to the property.
Damn.
What's that video?
An ad that we're not going to watch.
Bullshit.
According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, sovereign citizens believe that they, not judges, juries, law enforcement, or elected officials, get to decide which laws to obey and which to ignore. In addition, they don't think they should have to pay taxes.
I'm with them so far.
After police confirmed that Shanetta was in fact the homeowner, they then informed the individuals that they could not remain on the property. They left, but around 2:40 p.m., one man, identified later as 39-year-old Hubert John of Los Angeles, returned before the homeowner's locksmith could change the lock. John allegedly used a key and entered the home and placed a Moorish flag representative of sovereign citizens in the window. O'Hara stated that a Newark police SWAT team was eventually deployed because the suspect refused to leave and claimed that he was rightfully in possession of the home. The suspect was essentially a squatter in a vacant home who had the locks changed. No weapons were used in this incident. So let's see if we can what her bizarre experience video is. And we'll watch that in 10 seconds or so when the ad goes away.
So
okay, this is just to let everybody know what's been happening today. I literally
She looks like a regular black girl.
Bought a house. I'm sure you guys are aware. And I'm not lying to you. Someone decided that they wanted my house. So they sawed off the locks, put their own locks on, and he is now occupying the home. And we are out here. I've just been waiting out here with the cops at the neighbor's house while the SWAT team plans to move in and remove him. Yeah, so that's been my day. How's yours? You guys, I'm not even kidding. This is the literal SWAT team that was called. To get this guy out of my house. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm not even kidding you guys. We're inside safe, just so you know. Oh my God, he's walking up to the house. One of the cops, but I can't see him now because do you see him? Walking up to around the side of the house. Mm-hmm.
Looks
this
like
is
nice
the
house.
negotiation portion of it. The captain explained to me they're going to try to negotiate and have him come out of the house peaceably. If he doesn't, then they're going to break down the door. They're armed and ready. He just like literally raised his pistol. The neighbors are really excited, but I'm just scared for him now.
The neighbors are really excited, Big Daddy. Did you
For
hear
some
that?
reason, the neighbors are really excited about this.
Did you hear that in the back? Did you hear the
Mhm.
Jamaican lady in the background just
Oh, it's like a movie.
losing her shit just a little bit?
Uh-huh.
Shanetta, who said she was receiving threats from the group prior to the incident, retold the story on the popular social media platform TikTok, warning others of her bizarre encounter. I was randomly, but not randomly, targeted by a terrorist group that doesn't follow any of our rules and would be violent in efforts to steal my house, she explained in a series of videos. It's not the sexy crime Lifetime show that we're used to seeing. This was something for me to try to communicate a cautionary tale that is bizarre and crazy, but it's real life. It happened. John was arrested, but has since been released. He faces charges of criminal mischief, burglary, criminal trespass, and terroristic threats.
Wow.
That's incredible.
So apparently all you have to do is go get a flag and roll into somebody's house.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to join a terrorist group, what's a Moorish flag? Is that like where there's Morristown, New Jersey?
No, not Morristown. It would be a flag associated with the Al Moroccan Empire that was. Can
we take a look at Al Moroccans? What does an Al Moroccan look like?
Looks like a douchebag, I guess.
So Al Morocco is a country in North Africa.
The Moorish Science Temple of America.
Let's go to images. What about Al Moroccan people?
Or Al Moroccan flag.
We're there. That's what he looks like.
Oh, okay.
That's a drawing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Simon and I like to do drawings.
Oh, here we go.
That looks like a black lady.
It is.
Yeah,
She's wearing a fez. And she is rocking that fez.
Oh,
she is rocking that thing.
Huh.
So people from the Al Moroccan Empire.
They look like squatters.
Are black.
Moorish. Moorish. The Moors are not all black, and they're an in between. They're a light skinned folk. Usually, in fact, there's a group of for lack of a better way of explaining it, brown folks in Delaware. That it was thought for a long time that there was a population of Moors in Delaware. A Moor being a light-skinned, sort of African person, but it was found through some DNA testing that it just turns out that they were light-skinned folks who had a lot of Native American blood as well. So they were the product of some Indians and some black folks getting together a long time ago, and they had a community for a while. They were wrongly called Moors. They were not actually this elusive group of light-skinned people. They were just people who happened to get down with other brown and
like swirlies. Just a bunch of different brown people.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to hang a tag on somebody somewhere. but I believe that the Al-Moroccan Empire, the Moorish folk, I believe they're known for their vagabond ways. They kind of traveled around and stuck their flag and shit and said, mine, 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 mine. And didn't really want to hear anybody else's shit about how it wasn't.
That sounds like it. That's exactly what's going on here.
It sounds like Christopher Columbus.
So now that we've talked about a regular black girl, I think we need to kind of swing over to a not so.
Big Daddy keeps taking jabs at Christopher Columbus. I don't know what if you don't love America. Here's the thing: any God-loving American with 2 guns in the King James Bible knows that science don't belong in the classroom. And if it wasn't for Christopher Columbus, then we wouldn't have assimilated the Italians so well.
Mm.
So, and again, science does not belong in the classroom.
Reel it in, Sanasak. So, as it turns out, we have this white girl now that we've checked in with our regular black girl who got her house back.
You see this? We want this. We love this. We need this. But this, yeah, we don't need this.
As a member of the African American community, we would like to humbly decline your offer. Since you don't want your own race, maybe the Hispanics will take you instead. So sorry, you have been declined.
Thank you for the referral on that, but the Hispanic community, we're going to have to pass on that. You could check the Asians, though.
As a representative of the Asian community, after careful consideration, unfortunately, we cannot take her. She will also be banned from ever taking out Chinese again. Though, we will offer her up to the Indians.
After a not-so-thorough examination and as a member of the Indian community, we would also like to humbly deny this offer. Maybe the Egyptians would be interested.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but there's no way. Gotta pass this one back to the white boys.
No.
No.
Just no.
No.
Oh, why would I do that? I mean, that's.
I feel like that speaks for itself.
I'm sorry.
I almost wonder what this girl was expecting.
Yeah.
When she made this
You
video.
see this? We want this. We love this.
Yeah.
I think she was expecting to be bombarded by a bunch of black men.
I mean, clearly, she's specifically asking for some eggplant.
Yeah. This is a very specific request.
But this is like the really nerdy guy who goes into the Cabela's and he really wants to catch a fish and he gets all the wrong shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because he thinks he knows how to do it. I mean, she's got this wonderful Kool-Aid red hair and she's a little chunky and she's definitely very white.
She obviously wants to be a single mom.
So, this guy, this guy walks into the Cabela's. He gets a fishing rod and he gets some power bait, but he doesn't necessarily get the right stuff. He just gets the stuff that interests him when you really got to get the stuff that interests a fish.
Yeah, it's like she got bread, milk, and eggs, right? But she wanted to make. She thought she was making a cake, but then came out with pancakes instead. It's bread, milk, and eggs, but you still need the right quantities of each.
Yeah, she fucked this one up a little bit.
Yeah, the hair, the nails, the weight, the top, the tattoo on the forearm. It's bread, milk, and eggs. I get it. She had. She used the correct formula.
I feel like I wouldn't use bread, milk, and eggs. Sorry. I misspoke. I wouldn't use bread milk. If you're baiting, if you're looking for what she's looking for, you want to be
crack, Newports, and candy.
Yeah, like you want to be Newports, but not Maverick menthol light 100s.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You want to be Welch's grape soda, not Food Lion grape soda.
I think she looks like she tastes like cigarettes.
And she looks kind of sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not where the skin, but you can almost, like, if you look at her cleavage there, it looks sweaty.
And not in a good way. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And I particularly found it off-putting that she's got this, we like black guys, but not white guys. I don't think anybody wants to hear that. Like,
as a black guy, I don't like to hear that. Like, that, to me, that's still racist, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
I understand having a preference, but if you're all,
I don't like white guys. Really? I mean, maybe you just like guys that are good to you, and that's good enough, you know? Maybe you like the guy that you connect with, and that's what you like. But
so she's just going, I hate guys with good credit scores.
I hate a motherfucker with furnished housing.
I definitely like a girl that's down with the brown, but the way she's doing this is what's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point where it's too much.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like her tactic may have worked on some level until the first kid got a hold of it.
Yeah.
Once the first kid got a hold of it and decided to roast it, like he decided, and it's still, what we should do is probably contact her, is what we want to interview you and want to ask how successful your campaign is. You know, because
she's going to spend all of her time talking to me. Let's not do that.
How much dong are you really getting?
I mean, come on, you would plow the shit out of that, Stan.
You know, that's beside the point.
Yeah, we don't need this.
As a member of the African,
I mean, is he a heterosexual? This kid?
Just.
I mean, this isn't.
You said it yourself. She looks off-putting and sticky.
Yeah,
I understand. I understand that, but we couldn't find all right. So if Flavor Flav
decline your offer, since you don't want your own race, maybe the Hispanics.
So
But if they got if they got like Flavor Flav and like Danny Trejo,
I'll take you instead. Sorry, you have been declined.
Thank you.
Danny Trejo. Like this would would they say no?
We're gonna have to pass on that. You can check the Asian.
I do agree. Some of these guys are a little
As
soft.
a representative of the Asian community,
Some of these guys are a little soft. They're all soft,
unfortunately.
except for maybe.
But
I don't know. Asian
that's also kids now. Like, that's also kids in 2021.
The toughest one is the white kid.
Yeah,
and he's really only saying no because
I don't know.
Nobody else wants him. Nobody else wants her.
Asian guy seems to be pretty tough.
No.
I mean, for an Asian guy.
No. I'd smack him in his fucking head. Get the fuck out of here.
Right, but I mean, he's tough for an Asian guy.
That's racist.
She'd also be banned from ever taking out Chinese again.
He denied her takeout.
Though,
that's rough.
Up to the Indians.
He's doing her a favor.
I guess he is. It's between him and the Egyptian for the straightest guy here.
Thorough examination, and as a member of the Indian community,
and they're fairly
we would
young,
also like
too.
to humbly deny this offer. Maybe the Egyptians would be interested.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but there's no way. Gotta pass this one back to the white boys.
No.
You see this?
See, here's the thing about all right. So, like I said, but also a lot of these kids, they're young. They haven't had, those weird kinks develop. You know what I mean? Where like you're kind of like, oh, like C-section stars are kind of hot, and
just something
weird
about a 60-year-old stripper with a C-section scar.
Oh my god, and like a tattoo that you can't quite tell what it is anymore.
Have you ever been down to the Fairways Inn?
No, what is this place called? Or the Fairways Inn?
I'm not sure that it's still there. It used to be 13 used to be the way to the beach. Before they built one, you'd go all the way down 13 to a certain point and then cut down to the beach. And there was an area on 13 that you passed just I think it was between Smyrna and Dover. On one side it was a golf course, and on the other side, right across the street, was this horrendously painted building. It was the most obscene shade of chroma key green, and it was called the Fairways Inn, and there was a motel next to it.
I vaguely remember this.
And it was a go-go bar, and about 10, 15 years ago, it burned out, and I think they put it back. But yeah, I mean, I remember when I was like 18, 19 years old, when we were working on the road, like real close to there, and we went in there for lunch one day. And yeah, wow. Something about a stripper that's 60 years old with a C-section scar will make you want to pay attention and eat your lunch. No, I'm eating. It's okay. No lap dance for me, thanks.
She comes up to you smoking a cigarette.
Uh-huh.
How you doing, hon?
It's like you were there. Hi,
You wanna-
how are you?
You want to smell my pussy? How about
Shall I?
How about I bend over and show you my keister?
I'm just gonna rub it on you.
You want me to? Look at those meat flaps hanging on either side of my cock, buddies. I didn't shave my pussy since 1956. I got it braided for you, honey.
Yeah, that was the place.
What were we talking about?
Well, I
We were
decided
talking about AOC.
Yeah, we're going to jump one more time into this is our last story for the night. We haven't even taken a break in the middle. We're doing okay. AOC slammed for saying concerns over crime spike is hysteria.
That's usually what happens when crime spikes. People become hysterical.
Alexandria.
Also,
Go ahead.
you know that the concept of hysteria comes from the uterus,
Right.
That a woman's
His being a feminine root.
right. There's literally the womb is
Yes.
the hyst, and so hysteria is a disease of the uterus. Does the article go into that?
I don't know. Let's see.
That's fine.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has come under fire for saying there was hysteria across the United States over the surging violent crime rates, including a 64% spike in shootings in her native New York. The New York Congresswoman made the comment on Sunday while discussing concerns of the rising crime wave across the country. Crime wave. I don't know that I'd say that there's a crime wave. I think a crime wave seems a little more organized in my mind. We are seeing these headlines about percentage increases, Ocasio-Cortez said during the Zoom meeting with New York Republican Jamal Bowman, or New York Representative, I'm sorry, Jamal Bowman. Now, I want to say that any amount of harm is unacceptable and too much But I also want to make sure that this hysteria, that this doesn't drive a hysteria, and that we look at these numbers in context so that we can make responsible decisions about what to allocate in that context. You know what?
I think she misspoke.
I think that based on the words that come out of her mouth, she's either just slamming words out, and there's an issue there that this chick can't. That's not. There's nothing. It's not. That's not a cohesive train of thought.
In response, pencils, staples, beer can.
Easy, man. You're
Watch
like crazy.
Watch, lamp, extender stick, bag from Nordstrom, pack of lighters.
You're just saying random things that are near you.
Beer bottle. That's my position on this.
Shootings have increased more than 60% in New York City compared to last year, according to data put out by the National Fraternal Order of Police. The number of shootings has spiked 126% in Portland in the last year and 51% in Los Angeles.
Look, what you have to remember is that you take the good, you take the bad. You take them both. There you have. What do you have, Big Daddy?
You have the facts. The facts of life. You have the facts of life.
The facts of life. Because there's a time you got to know you should have to blow. But there you go. The facts of life. I think I might have the facts of life.
Yeah.
Look, when the world doesn't seem to be living up to your dreams,
there's always Tootie's big round behind.
Suddenly you're finding out. Suddenly you're finding out the facts of life are all about you.
So
you
clearly you remember the dramatic read guy that I brought around.
What?
There's a comic. He shows up on YouTube. He does dramatic reads of television.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah. No, I didn't. Does he do the Facts of Life theme song?
Yes.
No, he did another one that we watched.
He's done a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Scooby Doo. We still have. I never reached out to him. It's weird that I didn't do something.
Yeah, you're usually so on point.
Right. I'll have to forward his information over to the doctor. What's this? Didn't we go through this once already? Oh,
we did. I think I submitted this one.
Oh well. Oh, but you know what? While he's taking care of this, hang on. This podcast is brought to you by air conditioners. Air conditioners. We don't really need to advertise.
Yeah, it's this guy, David Urey.
Yeah.
He actually showed up in...
My name's T. Grizzly. I'm a homicide detective.
He showed up in... Actually, I think this Grizzly and Hash is the commercial that he showed up in.
Doesn't mean I actually detect homicides. I know it's confusing. Whenever there's a murder, it's up to me to figure out who did it, where they did it, and what...
Maybe that's not it. But he's in a... He's in a commercial now. I've recently seen him.
Well, that's terrific.
Oh, there it is. First one.
Yes, Facts of Life. And he does a pretty good read of this.
Starting out with any new project management software usually feels something like this.
It feels like you're not going to see this commercial because I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
No, there was a skip ad.
Okay, we can go back.
Let's give these some due date.
You take the good. You take the bad.
Start screen share.
You take them both. And there you have the facts of life. There's a time you've got to go and show you're growing now. You know about the facts of life. Facts of life. When the world never seems to be living up to your dreams, suddenly you're finding out the facts of life are all about you. You. It takes a lot to get them right when you're learning the facts of life. Learning the facts of life. Learning the facts of life. Scene.
I really like that guy.
Well, all right. So what other
that really
word salad? What other word salads did AOC prepare? We're moving on from that.
I don't know that we have any other word salad.
Homicides in New York City have surged 12%. Okay. Dude, Portland's up 533%.
Yeah. I think that's a little more than hysteria.
But they're also comparing this to last year where everyone was quarantined.
The View co-host Meghan McCain said on Monday it was okay for Americans to be concerned about rising murder rates. Facts are stubborn things. There is a huge homicide crisis in the country, and whether or not AOC likes it, it's okay for people to be concerned about a homicide spike. Well, I mean, that seems pretty reasonable to me.
That's surprisingly reasonable for Meghan McCain.
Yeah, I mean, usually she's completely out in fucking left field. Or right field, if you will. I mean,
in comparison to a quarantine, I feel like New York and Chicago are pretty low.
Yeah. Journalist Glenn Greenwald criticized AOC for voting last month to increase Capitol Police funding while suggesting that concerns over rising crime was hysterical. AOC is mocking ordinary people as hysterical who are afraid of violent crime in their neighborhood, people who, unlike her, don't have reams of private security, he tweeted. Yet she just acted to ensure $2 billion more in spending on the police that protects her. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have any more word salad from her, but she's definitely an asshole.
Well, she's a Marxist, and that's how they behave. I mean, this is what you get when you elect communists. This is what you get. This is what you get with huh?
Is that a dude or a chick? That's a chick, right?
Brushing his teeth?
Yeah, it's like that first one looks like Jaden Smith, so I don't know what I'm looking at.
I mean,
oh, okay, all right.
Thinking it's probably a chick. Speaking of which, we had a murder just the other day.
Why does it matter? Like, why can't you just be attracted to a person?
And
I needed to know if I was gay or queer, so
it's one or the other.
There was a murder at our local shopping mall that was a gay murder. It was a couple of chicks, and one of them shot the other one in the car.
Oh, I just read that.
Yeah. Did you happen to see the chick's picture?
Oh, that was a rough chick.
Yeah, she looked like a dude. You couldn't
Yeah,
tell.
she looked like...
It was like...
Yeah.
You could either go ugly woman or pretty dude.
Yeah. Like, you know she was the one strapped up in the bedroom. Like, you know.
You ain't the girl, are you?
I mean, was it a real pretty dude?
No, I'm
like,
a real pretty dude.
Like, she's going to go to prison and be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, She's gonna go to a women's prison and have a good time.
She's been there before.
Yeah.
How about that? 24. Pretty young.
Like if she hasn't been there before, she's okay with going.
Yeah. Like she's read the brochure and she's like, well, you know what?
Maybe.
This might not be the worst option.
Oh no, don't lock me in here with all this pussy.
That would be horrible.
I mean, that's what I was like. If you were a gay dude and like enjoyed being raped, wouldn't you just go to prison?
I mean, if you really liked that, I suppose it's an option.
I mean, sure
3 square meals and
all the
all the dick you can handle,
all the uninvited butt sex you want.
But I mean, would it be uninvited or just be open to the public?
I mean,
it's literally it's open to the public.
Rape seems to indicate the connotation of uninvited butt sex. In the
then you
context of going to prison as a man.
But if you were just a man who was, into like big
rough play,
and you didn't want to work or nothing, you could just go to prison.
You could, I suppose that is
like every 20 years or so, you got to kill somebody, come up on parole. You got to kill somebody just to show that you're a badass. You can still get all the sex you want. This podcast is brought to you by carpeting. It's on the floor.
Okay.
We've got you covered.
But now that we're about 2 hours deep.
Oh, is it that late?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've got 2 hours 4 minutes in the 4.5 minutes in the can.
All right. Well, we blew through the last news story, right? And we've got
yeah.
So we don't have anything else lined up.
No.
I was just waxing poetic, thinking about different scenarios in my head that I've had a couple beers. Might not have articulated myself very well, but everybody got the point.
Yeah, we all left.
Yeah. All right, good. So, and let's give a big fuck you to New England Coffee, Stu Peters, Newsweek, and the Fairways Inn. You want to bring us home, Mike?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Big Daddy, our fearless leader, Matty Rockdeff, and the absent Doc, I'm Professor Mike Latoris. This has been the Media Virus Podcast. Join us again next week, right here at the same place. Wrong button.
Send help.